He started his own online putting league and then disappeared. So I'll have to ask him about it. Fucking got him.
Two of these boys and girls will spend some part of their lives in a mental institution.
Welcome to Hanging Loose, a disc golf podcast, hosted by Shank DG and Spicy Boy. Today's guest, KKApproved.
God, I really wanted that to be the start. It's just me coughing. Hello, welcome to the Hanging Loose podcast, brought to you by Rand Disc Golf. I'm Spicy Boy and taking over the intro this week, and this is
Spicy Boy.
No,
I'm Shanky G. What's up, bro?
Usually, I'm used to coming second. How have you been?
Race for me.
It's a race.
If you're not first or last.
Everything in life is competitive. Be sure to visit randdiscgolf.com for all your disc golf needs. Should have our jerseys pretty soon, which I'm more than excited for.
Including Innova by the Mold now. So big ups to our boy Randy for getting ability to order Innova by Mold instead of just telling Innova to send him 60 discs and then it's 60 Stingrays. So
by the Mold sounds like the spaghetti place that every town has. We're like, buy the barrel, and you're like, who the fuck eats barrels of spaghetti?
Do you remember bucket of spaghetti from Little Caesars? I think it was Little Caesars. They used to sell a bucket of spaghetti.
I don't remember Little Caesars ever selling it, but there is a place here in Mesa, Arizona that still sells spaghetti by the bucket.
That's incredible. I wish I could order spaghetti by the bucket. That's incredible.
You don't, because the spaghetti by the bucket that I had in Mesa, Arizona,
I'm sure it's
fucking
awful.
Terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure it's awful.
If you had given, and this is probably because I'm madly in love with Chef Boyardee, but if you had given me a bucket of Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs, I would have been amped. But it was like this white lady who lives in Mesa who's like not an Italian cook at all, and you're like, what the fuck are you making? It tastes terrible.
It's just a kiddie pool in her backyard, and she goes out back with a gallon bucket and just scoops it.
Do you guys want to see the scariest thing possible for Halloween?
Sure. I love Halloween.
Ew. Okay.
I'm out of here.
This is even more frightening in my opinion.
Oh man.
Man, I have not been golfing in almost a solid month because
what the fuck?
I'm dealing with some personal issues between me and my golf friends that I won't go into, but J-Rock probably sympathizes with me a little bit, right? J-Rock? Is that his name?
Is that
J-Ring? J-Ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. That's rough. Get it together, Spicies, for all friends.
No, they're great.
Oh.
They're wonderful. This is me being in the wrong and me fucking up. So
get it together.
I have no, and they're like, come out and hang out with us. It'll be fine. We'll be joking about it in 2 months. But I'm so embarrassed about it that I refused to go out. Like I can't think of a more strenuous, stressful situation than like being around my golf friends right now until I can right what I've wronged. But I'm gonna ask. There's a guy I know who's been through something similar where he started his own online putting league and then disappeared. So I'll have to ask him about it.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Got him.
I was 100% with you for like. I wonder who that was.
Yeah, genuinely am broken up about it, and I hate that it's happened. And my friends have been very cool and understanding, but I need to fix it as soon as possible.
That is rough. Well, I know a guy who can sympathize.
I love that I built that all the way up.
Oh man,
just to bring you down.
Yikes!
You're still Andrew Fish out of water. No update this week.
Oh yeah, I meant to update that. I don't remember what I was.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Is Randy hanging out today? Or is it just us clowns?
I think it's just us.
Racist.
Yeah, just the two of you.
Just the two of us. And
You'll
Randy.
notice I didn't
You
say
can
just the
make
two
it
of
if
us.
we try.
I didn't want you to start singing.
Hey everybody, this is Randy from RandDiscGolf.com. The other day I was out on the disc golf course, bombing my drivers 300 feet, feeling good about myself. And I decided that since I had a long ride home, I needed to find a podcast that was smart, funny, and entertaining. Everything a good podcast should be. So I picked Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it was wonderful. But after that, my podcast app, the algorithm, sent me to Hangin' Loose podcast, hosted by Shanked DG and Spicy Boy. And it was okay. But after 30 seconds, I figured that my time would be better spent listening to the new Chapel Roan album. So that's what I did. So if you need any discs, RandDiscGolf.com. And if your podcast app happens to go to the Hangin' Loose podcast, there's always Chapel Roan.
What a guy. Hey, where's my bet pay up?
I was still working on it.
Good question.
I have a friend of Spicy, who is now a friend of me, who is helping me with the. I trust me, it'll be worth it.
A friend of mine,
A friend of yours, who is a friend of mine, and who
do
is
I know
helping
them?
me.
Your wife?
I know what this is. It's
He's
his
just
wife. It's your wife.
He said, nah, dude, if my ex-wife Rachel showed up on this
Oh my God,
podcast,
I
would.
Funny.
That would be the greatest thing that anyone's ever pulled on me, and she pulled a lot.
I
of
was
shit on me.
thinking your work wife, Terry Miller. I've worked this out already. Yes, I've already figured this out. You dirty cheater.
I'm not a dirty cheater. You don't even know what it is. It's not even Terry Miller. It's Mary Tiller.
I hope it's Terry just bad mouthing me for a minute straight. Because
it'll be wonderful when it pays off.
Terry's only nice to you in private. Like, if there are other people around, you'd be like, yeah, you piece of shit, but like lovingly, and you're okay, cool.
What does that mean if he was nice to me from the top? Does that mean he despises me?
No, it means he doesn't know you well enough to be mean to you.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, Terry's he's very roasty like I am, but he has to know you first before he will kind of go into that. But
I want to get it done this week. So my life has been incredibly busy. As you guys know, I don't really talk about it much on the podcast, but talked about it today on Spicy, and I might have a chance to come see my boy in Arizona for some work stuff. So
that would be
maybe
very
possibly
exciting.
That would be very cool. So we can be grifters together, and
just absolute degenerates. If you come out here and you can ask Mitchell Jasper,
him,
Minnesota disc golfer, who's now in LA, I think. Anyway, he got to have a shot of Malort when he came out here and hated me for it. And so when you come out here, you will come to the bar for bingo or trivia. Mandatory if you're here on a Monday or Wednesday. I don't care what fucking time your flight is, Alyssa. You're going to do a shot of Malort with me at my bar and watch me roast people in person.
That's awesome. You'll get to see me in my true form, which is a turtle, and I'm going to try to crawl into myself at any social situation. So
I will absolutely put you on blast in front of everyone, so just be ready for it.
Oh, man. Well, I do have a story time this week as well as a disc pick. Do you?
I have a disc pick.
My guy. Disc pick? No story time?
I do have a disc pick. Since I haven't really golfed, my story time is that I'm a degenerate piece of shit who asked my friends if I could dip into the ace pot to pay my rent so I wouldn't be homeless. They all said yes, and then I failed to pay it back in time before somebody aced the next week. I was holding the ace pot money for 7 months. I didn't spend it at all. I was very good, very well behaved. I was like, yes. Like, I'm a good treasurer. And then literally I was like, well, I'm going to be a homeless treasurer if I don't pay my rent. So I asked my friends. They all said yes. I said, cool, I'll have it paid back by this time. Paid my rent and then immediately had a car mishap that I had to pay for, so I couldn't pay it back. And now I'm a piece of trash. And I love my friends dearly. Like I said, they've been very cool, very sweet. They're very understanding, but at the same time, there are a few of them you can tell are like, what a fucking asshole. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, this is not what I wanted to happen.
Yeah. From the outside looking in, it sounds like you did everything you were supposed to in terms of asking. Your friends were kind and generous and let you do it. And sometimes
life fucked me.
Yeah, sometimes shit just doesn't work out, and it sounds like you're being a little harder on yourself than they are. So keep your friends close. I mean, that's all. That's the moral.
I'm always the hardest person on myself, but I absolutely just abhor that this happened because I was like, I really don't want to use the ace pot money. I really don't want to. I know as soon as I do, somebody's gonna hit a fucking ace, and that's exactly what happened. I was like, God damn it, dude. So I don't know, man. It's like I feel like my messages in the group chat get ignored these days because I think there's some people who are really upset with me, which again, I fully understand. But it's hard to not be able to go throw when I want to because I just don't want to have the chance of running into one of them and then being like, "Are you still a fucking asshole?" Sorry, I know we're not supposed to be cussing.
We've made it through far enough, I think.
Bleep all that stuff.
Bleep, 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 bleep. Done.
Done like a real New Yorker. What's your story time?
I got a two-parter. One's really quick, and I just gotta make fun of myself because I felt like a real Oklahoman when I did this. So probably last Tuesday, I think it was, I went to go get Mexican food. It was like
after we recorded
9:30 at night. Actually, I think it was right after we recorded. And it was like 9:30 at night, and they were just about to close. It was like 30 minutes till close for the restaurant, and we ordered. I walk in, and they're all like end of night stuff. Like all the chairs are flipped over on the table, stuff like that. They've got my order in a bag on the counter ready for me to pick up. And I walk in, and I don't know what possessed me, but I walked in, I looked at everybody, and I went, "Hola."
No, you didn't.
No, I 100% did.
No, you didn't.
Like a true piece of shit. I walked in, I looked them all right in the face, and I went, "Hola."
Boy, I
took my food, I looked at the floor, and I walked out.
You're real Ponca City now, aren't you?
Dude, I felt like such a piece of shit. I mean, it's not even that bad. It was just like, of course. I don't know what came over me.
So I can sympathize with you. I have two versions of this same story. My friends and I, one of them has a little child, and they play for this child on TV all the time, Ni Hao Kai Lan, which is a very popular kid show. And it teaches you words in Chinese the way that Dora teaches you words in Spanish. So we have become accustomed to whenever somebody does anything for us, just saying "xi," which is a very poor pronunciation of "xie xie," which is thank you in Mandarin, I think. And so we say it to each other all the time. "Xi," whatever. Somebody brings you a soda from the kitchen, "Xi," whatever. And it's not meant in any sort of like derogatory. That's just how we say thank you. And I went to a Chinese restaurant that I always go to. Like, they know me when I walk in. And I sat down, and the wonderful woman who always knows what I drink brought me a big Mountain Dew, and I looked right in her genuinely authentic, born and from there Chinese eyes and said, "Xi." And she went, and I just played it off like I was trying to learn Chinese, and I was like, I can never say that again.
I can't show my face here anyway.
Awful. I felt terrible. And then the worst one, and this is genuinely a moment that humbled me because I've always been joking, I've always been roasty, and like, I don't care who I poke fun at, whatever. And I have had this, I think one of my, and this is undiagnosed, please understand, I'm not virtue signaling or whatever. I'm such an internet child. But like, I think one of my flavors of autism, as the internet likes to say, is that I imitate sounds that I hear, like out loud.
Okay.
So like, if I'm in the car and like a loud ass engine goes by, I will just do it right back at the car. I will just make the sound right back at the car. And I'm good with music and lyrics and that kind of like my brain just like sounds. And so I was at dinner with my ex-wife Rachel at the Klein Jumpa, which is not Australian. I don't know why I said it like that. And I was coming back from the bathroom and I walked past this booth and I paid them no mind at all. Don't know how many people were there. I don't know any, I didn't look at them or whatever. So I sit down with my back to them. And then I hear this really loud, like, scream. And I'm not going to imitate it, but it was almost like a panic type scream.
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny. I'm not gonna. I thought it was funny. I immediately replicated the noise to the best of my ability. And my ex-wife's face drops. Just drops. And I'm like, what? And she's like, why would you do that? And I was like, I don't know, it's a funny sound. And she goes, the child behind you is like handicapped in some way, shape, or form. And were just 100% making fun of that child. And I was like,
oh no.
Oh my God. And immediately I got so worried. And so I turned around because I wanted to apologize. And the whole family's like, rightfully so. Rightfully so. And I was like, I'm so sorry, like, blah, 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 and I didn't mean it at all. And there was no coming back from it. And so luckily our server that night was my friend Jason, who is a very good buddy. And I explained to him what happened. And he like very heavily comped their meal. And then I paid for the rest of it. So it was like family of 6. So it was not cheap, but I deserved every penny I paid and then some for that mistake. So always be aware of your surroundings.
My dad calls that the idiot tax.
The idiot tax. That's a great way to put it.
Every once in a while, you just got to pay for something that you did that was stupid.
Yeah, and mine usually involves my mouth.
Mine is usually just forgetfulness. Like one time I pulled $100 out of the ATM and drove away, and I didn't take the money out of the ATM. And by the time I got back, it was gone, of course. And it's just kind of the thing you got to write off. You're like, oh, that was dumb. That's my idiot tax for this month.
I think my favorite idiot tax moment that wasn't me was my dad and I were at a baseball game, and he withdrew $100 out of the ATM and then never got his card back.
Ooh, ouch.
But he did have his card back. So instead of checking his wallet, he called the bank and had them turn off like permanently his debit card. And then 2 innings later, opened his wallet and was like,
it was right there.
Yeah, way to go, Bert.
Now you gotta wait the fucking 7 to 10 business days for them to ship you a new one.
God. Yeah, that was really funny.
My other bit of the story time, I met up with Phil O'Hara from Twitter to play some disc golf in Tulsa. We had a great time. I got to take out those discs that I showed off last episode. I got to take those out and give them a test run. If you can tell by my my title down there, forehand guy. Apparently all I need to be a forehand guy is a very overstable fairway driver, because that fireball that we looked at last week, I hit some nasty lines with that thing. Like I was throwing 300-foot forehands, and I've never done that before. So forehand guy now. Probably not next time I go out, but now. Otherwise, we played Hakey in Tulsa. Really fun course. Pretty difficult. Honestly, I think he talked it up a little bit. It wasn't as hard as he brought it, or he said it would be. It's a very mix of like woods and park golf. Some of the back 9 or like hole 7 through like 10 were pretty tough. But other than that, it's just distance. A lot of them are par 4, par 5s that were just like 600 to 800 feet, and you just had to rip it. And really fun course. Like I would love to go there again with the course knowledge and try to see what I can actually shoot out there. That I wasn't, testing out discs and having fun with the homie and playing blind. I'd love to see what I can go shoot out there like normally. But,
I love a good blind round. I feel like I play so much better when I'm not watched for this tree, avoid this route, that kind of thing.
Last year when I played all my tournaments, I think I played a total of 14 tournaments last year. I played most of them blind. If it wasn't like a home course, I played them blind because I was just like I was gonna go heavy into tournaments, and if it was within 2 hours of me, I was going. And
Nice.
most of those I don't have a reason to go there outside of a tournament, so the only purpose to drive that far to that course would be the tournament. So I played most of them blind is the point.
Oh man.
Yeah, thank you, Phil,
Well,
for taking me out and showing me around. We had a lot of fun. Great guy. Way taller in person than I expected, and real handsome lad. So
That's like when Bear Bite was like, "I'm 6'4". What the fuck? No, you're not. I've never even met you, and I know that's wrong, but apparently it's not. Yeah. So last week, if you remember, I announced a fun little Spicy Boy exclusive segment. Where if you were to provide me all of a list of all of the little subtitles that I give myself throughout the episode, I would give you a special shout out. I know I said 30 seconds, but there were actually 2 people that responded. One being Afterlife Dies himself, Justin responded and was like, "You never changed your name. It was just I'll be damned the whole episode." And I was like, "Yeah, but you watched the whole episode, right? You watched the entire episode to find my list of names, and then I just didn't change it." So 1, get fucked. 2, thank you for paying attention and watching the whole episode. We really appreciate that. You never know where some little nugget of a giveaway or whatever is going to be. So do we dig around a lot on here? Absolutely. But do we also give away cool shit? Absolutely. So if you're only sticking around and watching the first 10 minutes or so, you know who you are. Stick around. It's a good time. It's fun.
It's a great
you
show.
Won't be hearing this because it's 20 minutes in.
Yeah,
but
dropped out. Speaking of awesome people who listen to our show, our boy Squid, Squid Survives on Twitter, is officially started today his journey from episode 1 till current to catch up for his appearance on the show next week.
Is that the Squid Ink and Bones? Folks?
Yes. Yep. And there it is. And he is keeping a list of people of our guests and ranking them on a scale of -1 to 1 to see if in terms of does he think he is better than the person that was on the episode. So basically -1 to 1 is basically worse, same as, or better than our guest. So I'm excited to see where he thinks he lands on our guest list. That's an interesting.
I mean, if you're going to just do like worse, good as, or better than, why do you need numbers?
I don't know, man.
Just say, like, I think I was. I'm very excited. I did want to give them. Hold on, I got to switch headphones because I'm poor.
Yep.
Okay. I wanted to give him and Cassidy a shout out because they did send this disc completely unwarranted. As far as I remember, I had to go back and find where we mentioned them. But we did mention them, and they were kind enough to send us all a little gift. I think you guys talked about it when I was out of the room when I watched back last week's episode.
Yeah.
So thank you to them.
Our wife.
So let me two things real quick. Spicy.
No.
You did not. It was not Justin. It was Dumpster Fire.
Was. Dumpster Fire also responded to me publicly, and I was going to give him a shout out. But the first person to message me was our die guy, Justin, and said, "You never changed your name the entire time." Dumpster Fire said the same thing.
Oh, okay. That's why I guess that's why I was confused. Thing number 2. We don't have 100 episodes.
Who said anything about 100 episodes?
Yeah, where did that come from?
You said he's going to listen from 0 to 100. I was like, "What? We don't have 100 episodes."
It said 0 to
he
current.
said 0 to current.
I'm hearing.
That's right. Team hosts. Get fucked, Rudy.
Fuck producer. Get out of here.
All right. You guys have a good rest of the show.
Oh, I love you, Rudy.
We don't even see our guests.
Fuck off.
Yeah, but no,
yeah.
genuine thank you to those guys. I have plans. RV3, meet yourself. I have plans to give this away to a new disc golfer. I don't know how I'm going to do it or where I'm going to decide, but I will record it when it happens and be sure to post it because
heck yeah.
I think that's the whole point.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Him and Bones.
We'll find out more next week.
Our wife drew that stamp for them. That's why we got the boxes for him. So,
did you say our wife?
I did. So
I love that.
Is that your disc pick for this week?
That is my disc pick for this week. Shouts out Dumpster Fire. Thank you for, of course, former guest. Thank you for paying attention and watching my name. I love that I wasted your time.
Heck yeah. I've got my disc pick for this week is a compact disc.
Head PE, your favorite.
My favorite band, favorite album from favorite band. Reason it's significant is when I drove my piece of shit car last year to tournaments, the CD was stuck in the CD changer, so this was all I would listen to and from tournaments. And
was it stuck, or were you just too lazy to change it?
No, it was stuck. The eject button was broken. This actually isn't the original copy of the album. This is the replacement album I bought because I couldn't get the one out of the CD changer. So
I love that. I'm too lazy to change mine, so when I have no Bluetooth on, it's just the Hollywood's Bleeding album from Post Malone.
Nice. So yeah, my disc pick this week is a compact disc. Yeah. Head PE. But big recommend to it's a weird vibe if you're driving like 2 hours to a tournament because you go from like metal to reggae, and then by the time you're pulling up to the course, it's like real soothing music. I think the final song on the album is called Ganja. So
well, appropriate.
So you start your drive off.
First name on the album is double bass metal from metal to reggae.
I think it's Live, Pay Me, Closer, Hurt, and then it ends with Ganja.
What an album name. I would say I would be curious how they got that album name KKApproved.
Oh, she's here.
Look at that, right on cue. Hello.
Can you hear me? Hey.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. You never know. Setting up this environment was probably the hardest part. So I'm taking us some cues. Got some cool discs behind you. So thank you guys so much, and happy to be here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for being on. Thank you, I think, to Randy for setting this up for us.
Yeah.
So, so I guess our podcast is pretty much in the realm of Twitter. We're trying to expand it a little bit, but why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about what you do, who you are?
Awesome. So I'm KK, stands for Christina Kendrick. It's a mouthful. We all have nicknames, and if I chose my album, it would definitely, the headline would be KKApproved. So I think of like the USDA stamp of like, this meat is good, or that somebody's done like kind of the consumer reports. I'm a really, I would say OCD type of person. And I think coming to anything, I like to do my research. I like to check things out. So I think I started kind of my Instagram or social media just to open up disc golf maybe to, a women audience, a junior audience, or an audience that maybe wanted to hear from a different voice. And I've had an interesting disc golf career. I've been playing for over 15 years, but I broke my elbow and had to kind of start fresh about 5 years ago. So it kind of brings back that beginner circle and kind of at the same time that the COVID boom was happening. So it was a perfect time for me to take the previous knowledge I had, to take kind of the new stuff that I was working on and really be able to, again, expose a different audience to, something. So you guys are taking your Twitter audience and doing something different. I think it's, you find a lot of content creators that maybe fit a certain, like box. You two are great representatives of that. And I learn a lot from, my YouTube family, and that's really where it inspired me. But how can I translate some of the things that might be difficult for other people like flight numbers and weights for ladies, and what tournaments should I sign up for, and how big are the rules, and where can I find people in my own community that are doing similar things. So that's what my channel represents. It's kind of a combination of recommendations or of local areas or courses or tournaments and an insider view of that amateur experience, or into kind of like the side business of disc golf. So I've been, a victim of sweaty hands my whole life, and I've played a lot of sports. And I wore 2 gloves playing baseball, and always had a towel with me. And during COVID, I couldn't find a chalk bag to buy. And I would have bought, anything. I just couldn't find it. And I'm a sewer, and my mom and I have done gymnastics and climbing. And so I kind of fused the combination of me having sweaty hands with finding a product or making it for myself. And just so happened the community that I was in, supported me. And, just so happened I made a banana chalk bag. So, a banana, as you would think it to be, but the flying monkeys, which were out of Visalia, California, were, the combination of me creating a banana and them being the flying monkeys and them saying, "Oh my gosh, you made this for us." And I said, "Yeah, I made this for you guys." And it really started for you. It started out at one league night. And so a Wednesday league night, I had 52 club members support me. And then it turned into kind of the next thing of a friend was like, "Can you make me an eggplant?" And I'm like, "Well, I've already made a banana, but an eggplant, sure." And then it was, "I've got the MVP watermelon bag. Can you make me a watermelon?" I'm like, "Of course." And then a friend was like, "I only have orange disc. Can you make me an orange slice?" And I'm like, "Of course, Billy, I can." And so it kind of just turned in from that. And then I had tournament directors, contacting me, "Can you make me a pumpkin for a doubles tournament?" I'm like, "Sure." So really the side business that I have is really only through the need of the community. And I'm not really out there, trying to create different fruits because I got a full-time job. I want to practice my own disc golf game. I want to participate in tournaments. And I'm making, adorable fruit-shaped chalk bags for tournaments and for my website and for also local disc golf shops. So I'm pretty busy, but that's how I like to be. And that's where I'm kind of blending, my own sweaty hands and seeing other people in the community that maybe didn't like what was available or wanted something different. And it just is another choice. And it's not something that I plan to make my full-time job, but if it can help support the community and it gives me a thing to contribute. So if I think of like going to a disc golf tournament and being part of the player pack, so knowing that, I have 150 fruits that people are going to open as part of their, whether it's their disc or they got a retriever, but to have something that I made on their bag that I get to see, maybe a year later is pretty special. So that's kind of the culmination of who I am. I'm just a California girl that, has a full-time job that loves disc golf, that wants to encourage people, but also compete in tournaments myself. And if I can provide something like, an aid to help people, it's just a conversation point for me to be able to see people on the course and start that connection. So open for, just being able to answer any questions. And again, just jazzed to be part of your guys' series and exposing your community to something different.
Yeah, we're so excited. I was doing a little perusing on the sorry, you probably can't hear me. I was doing a little perusing on your website earlier today and was very jazzed, which is a word I use all the time, and I'm glad somebody else does too, to see a chili pepper available on there.
Yes.
And as the spicy boy, I was like, well, next time I have $20,
Yeah.
which is few and far between if you miss the first half of the show. I absolutely plan on getting one of those because it is too perfect. I love hot sauce. I love hot food challenges. And I was going through it and I saw the eggplant and I was like, like you have to. And then scrolling, I was like, she has so many different things that she makes. And I was just astounded. So kudos to you. I didn't mean to use the K word, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah. The chili pepper. So there's another KK. Her name's Christine King. She's sponsored by DGA, and she's a huge, runner of tournaments. She does the Poppy series. So she ran a Hot Mamas tournament, and she said, "KK, I need a chili pepper." And I said, "KK, I got you covered." So that was for a tournament 3 years ago. So, it's really KK's signature, fruit from my line. And it's another like kind of really special community connection is that people will kind of combine us into the same person, and it's fine with me. KK is amazing. But, it's the encouragement of that she represents me and vice versa. So the chili pepper for all of my hot sauce. My brother's a big hot sauce guy, so his chili pepper is his favorite. So again, it was out of somebody's suggestion. And that's why, it was so fun to make. And when I see them on people's bags, it makes me proud. But just like of what I use. So I use like premium climbing chalk. So nothing that you couldn't like consume and you wouldn't get sick. I use like basically canvas, and it comes like as a basic piece of fabric, and I sew it. I stuff the chalk inside. I sew it together. I do the dyeing myself. I put the carabiner on it. Like all of those things are done by, like hands, not by like anywhere else out of the country. So like I know where to get all of the chalk in the area. I know where to go on Amazon. So that's also fun too to share with other content creators and other small businesses. I think the dyeing community is really special in disc golf. And I think like the local disc golf shops, each disc golf community. But like, what are the other things that kind of are part of the sport, whether it's disc golf bags or, towels or disc golf carts? It's cool to be able to, kind of for me, I think all carts are great, but I use a bag boy because I can push it with one finger and I don't have to grab it with my wrist. And, it's just my preference. So when people see me on the course, they're like, oh, tell me about whatever. It's kind of fun for me to be able to kind of give my opinion because that's kind of what the premise of, I guess, my channel is, I put my stamp on, like, at least I've done enough research to, put my money into something that for me, it works and I would recommend to somebody else.
I love that. And I think it's indicative of like most people's passion in the sport that like you're not constantly like you wait for the community to have a need for the bags and like you want to provide that for them rather than like money grabbing like a lot of these new like companies that are popping up. I think of like House of Discs that really aren't in it for the sport but see that there's money in it, but you doing that for like tournaments and people that want them custom order. I think it's very indicative of the passion that you have for the sport. That's really cool.
The very definition of a passion project. And
exactly.
Yeah. I'm the worst businesswoman in terms of like, I'm not going to ever say like, buy my stuff. I'm never going to, be that person. And people are like, why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? I'm like, that's not what my objective is.
Yeah.
My objective is for things to be organic. And if somebody was to see something and genuinely like it, and that's where, I get to sponsor basically like by giving chalk bags or giving my, stamp disc to juniors to know that there's like 12-year-old boys that, message me and say, can I be part of your team? I'm like, of course, nothing would make me prouder than you to represent me or want to have, that on your shirt of KKApproved. Like, those are the wins for me. It's knowing that it's not a monetary thing. It's the things that are not measured. Yeah, it's a heart thing. It's a feel good. So yeah, I really appreciate you saying that because that's really on line with I guess my brand.
Yeah, I mean it comes through perfectly, and all 10 of our listeners go buy a fruit bag right now because she's not going to sell you, but I will. Go buy a bag.
I don't know. After the last couple episodes, we've really seen a spike in viewership. So thank you guys if you are watching.
Yes.
And thank you, KK, for coming on. So the KK thing threw me for a loop because I don't have any kids of my own, but I am an uncle to an absolute dream of a child. I think his birthday's next week. Max, and my younger sister's name is Kayleese, which is kind of a mix between Aunt Kay and our other Aunt Elise put it together. And it was like before Game of Thrones ever existed, and I had to hear Khaleesi a million times. But she calls herself to Max Aunt KK. He can't get her name just yet. So I remember seeing it and going like, she she doesn't play disc golf. And I was like, oh, this is a completely independent person. But you've
Which
been
is
all
also
over the
kind of
place.
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen you everywhere. You're on Instagram and Twitter, and I see you on like Disc Golf Fanatic posts and things like that. And it's always exciting to see somebody who really does it for their enjoyment of disc golf get that kind of exposure. Because like you said, anybody can turn on the advertising machine, and we're all going to know what New Jersey's Discraft has coming out in the next 2 weeks. But for you, it was very exciting, and I kind of feel this way about Rand Disc Golf as well, is because he's got all those little manufacturers or like things that I'm not going to find everywhere. Your website just turns into an adventure of like, oh, what do they have? It's like when you get on Amazon for the very first time, you're like, they have hammers? They have you can just poke around and look and find all these little cool things. And as soon as I saw that chili pepper, I was like, I can't not buy it.
Well, and it says KK on it, so it's kind of like, for anybody, like whether they know a KK or K is the strongest letter in the alphabet. It's kind of like that brand recognition too. If I think of like the stamp of the KK is kind of off of that USDA like approved, of thinking of that recognizable for everyone. And I think for me too, traveling a little bit has been great because while I'm mostly based on the West Coast, I've been able to play. I did the Amateur Las Vegas Challenge a few years ago. I did the NADGT tournament in Austin. I played quite a few A tiers, across California. I went down to San Diego to play their women's events because they have a great community down there. So you're able to make connections and meet the people that you've only seen online. And then there are actually like people that you make plans with, the following year. And so I think in the community and in the last, 3 or 4 years, being able to garnish friends, that I only saw on maybe, disc golf coverage or, on YouTube. And I think, from Rand Disc Golf, like just being able to make connections from different parts of the community and be able to connect with somebody from, across the country or, across the world is even cooler. So I think, again, what am I most thankful, and to anybody, just the two of you guys that maybe I didn't get to know before, like I'll get to tune into your podcast because I'm more invested to it now. I get to share to other people about it, and that's what I think every day is an opportunity. And one of my philosophies is don't put off what you can do today because tomorrow's never guaranteed. And I think that's kind of like that hustle mentality, and not hustle for a monetary thing, but hustle more of like, what can I get accomplished in terms of like, participating in tournaments, whether it's a CP prize or if it's part of a raffle or if it's donating to be a tea sponsor. Anytime somebody reaches out to me of like, hey, KK, will you be part of this? I say yes. I think of like the hundreds of different, tournament directors or local women or people. If somebody asks, unless it's something that I can't do, why would I want to say no? It's not going to directly benefit me from a sale, but it'll benefit, the experience of whoever is going to receive that chili pepper or eggplant or maybe a sticker or keychain or a disc or something. And that's what's kind of fun is I use those things as a way to, give back or to make a connection or to show somebody like, hey, if you've never putted with a wizard, I love a bead, let me show you. Or here's one, so I usually keep stuff in my truck. Just if I see somebody, I can give them a fruit, or if I'm playing in a tournament, if it's like a really stressful situation, people are being hard on themselves, I'll take a fruit off of my bag and I'll say, you need this right now. And it's kind of just a way to diffuse a bad situation or to make somebody smile. And in the end of the day, in the world of humanity, what are we here to do? If not to like make somebody else smile or teach somebody a new skill, other really, what's important. And I think those are the things that, drive me every day.
I couldn't agree with you more. I love the light in somebody's eyes when you give them a disc or like give them a mini or whatever, and they're brand new and they're like, oh, for real? And I love being able to like create that moment. And it's happened to me plenty of times. And the first time I ever met Ricky Wysocki, he was just golfing at my home course, and it was on my birthday, and he was golfing with a local guy named Rex Rogers. And I got to meet and take a picture with Ricky, and I was so, and this is not anything on Ricky at all, but I was so much more excited because Rex gave me a mid. It's like, hey man, happy birthday. And it's like, you mean it? Like, you just get so elated and built up, and it's such a good feeling. And I don't, obviously there's bad apples in every bunch, but there's so few people I think that are really going to like have that experience and not have it really shape the way they move forward. I think it's always a very formative experience to have. So
Yeah.
You giving out fruits off your own bag, that kind of thing, I think that's so cool.
And you say every group is going to have bad apples or whatever, but I think disc golf attracts more people like you, KK, that are like gracious and giving compared to other communities like that, because we all love the sport, right? Like, it's not it's easy to look at disc golf from an outsider perspective and be like, oh, it's easy. It's not easy. Most of us, we throw one good shot and then we spend a year trying to do it again. Like, and I think there's a camaraderie like that. Like, I run clinics for youth people, for Edge, youth people, children,
Yes.
through Edge, and I always keep a couple extra discs on me for that kid that seems to really love it. And then at the end of the class, I'll just give it to them, and they always love it. And that's we lost Spicy. But yeah,
He'll be back.
but yeah, I did have a question for you.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
No, you go for it.
So in the last couple of years, we had the big boom during COVID, and then things seem to be, leveling out or even declining a little bit, finding normal again. But it does seem, from my perspective, that the women's disc golf has seen steady increase, at least in viewership and
Yes.
the new names on the tour and stuff. Do you see that even locally, that like the women's scene is getting a lot more robust?
Well, and I think like we take a page of some really important areas that have done this for a long time. So I think of like the Michigan disc golf area has a huge women's scene. I think of the Phoenix Ladies Leagues that has a huge women. The Birdie Babes down in San Diego, the Poppy Series in Sacramento. It's only really possible because of these really passionate tournament directors. Or I think of like KK, who 20 years ago, was a teenager, and one of the only women out there that really had to like stand up for herself. And, I think of like, I'm kind of a fragile unicorn in that, I enjoy a really great experience with a lot of other, women. But KK had to make that happen on her own. She had to fight to like, force her friends to be like, come on, just sign up, and created these experiences. And through that network, these communities, like I've talked about in Michigan or Phoenix or San Diego or Sacramento or all over the country, North Carolina, these are the only ones that as I see them online, they've created spaces, whether it's monthly leagues, that are casual, whether it's hosting clinics, whether it's doing doubles tournaments, or all of them combined. It really is a place for women who are, juniors or adults. I don't go to bars or the club. Like, where am I going to find a friend? I've moved for my job so many times. So I, have to find friendship, and it's through the liked and shared hobbies of like disc golf. So, like this weekend on Saturday, I'm playing the 3rd annual Chain Goddess, which is a women's run tournament. 50 ladies signed up. So, one of our local pros, Serenity Madison's, running that tournament. It's the kickoff to the next year of the Poppy Series. The last event that KK was the California Women's Championship. Over 50 women participated in that. And again, this is just one small community in like Northern California. But that didn't used to be that way 4 years ago, because I think, yes, women are more watching, they're more playing casually, but to put yourself like in a competitive mindset of where you're, judging yourself or feeling like other people are judging you, or that you don't want to be last or do something stupid. But because we want to spend the time together, and because it's fun to be outside throwing, frisbees, that we're willing to put and subject ourselves to a tournament round. And I think of like encouraging. There might be a dude that's playing like MA2 that's like aggressive, or there might be an older guy that's like, oh, women out here, rawr. But it's those are the things like, like whatever,
Yeah.
like I'll try to be quiet, I know I'm loud, there's just going to be things that, of any community,
Mhm.
how do you spin it to your advantage? And, making a space and being united in numbers allows us to have a voice, because we will sign up for tournaments, but it has to be kind of, meet your community where they're at. So, like these tournaments are set up to make women feel empowered and successful. They're not putting us in the long position, and trying to make us make a par three at 400 feet. Like, no, it's to encourage and continue to promote. So, like, myself and my own disc golf journey, or seeing my friends go from playing FA3 to FA2 to FA1, or to go into being on a professional level, like, so cool. It's a way to build confidence that you can translate to other parts of your life.
That's awesome. I think there was a bit there in the middle where you said, we go out there for camaraderie. It might feel silly and stuff like that, but it's the friendship that matters, like the camaraderie that matters in there. And I think that's going to resonate with a lot of
Yeah.
people. All 20 of our
Yeah, because
listeners.
like why not, play a tournament? So I think of like people that like myself, I played disc golf for 10 years before getting my PDGA number. Like I used to be begged by, my disc golf instructor, because I was so fortunate to go to a college that offered disc golf as a class. So Stancil Johnson, was able to teach, local kids, and it was a great, experience, but I didn't want to play in a competition because, again, it was like, am I going to get judged? And so being able to understand that you get to pay, let's say $45, and you play for a weekend, and you may get one disc or a shirt, but you're getting 2 full days of entertainment. You get to play the course when nobody else is there. You get to share that experience. I think of going to the movies, or I think of like going bowling is like more expensive than that. And you're getting such a return on your investment. And you get to, again, maybe you're improving a certain thing or aspect, or maybe it's playing a course that you haven't gotten to play before, but the only person that's putting expectations on you is you. And as I talk to people and kind of encourage my own self, is like, you're paying this as an experience, like if somebody was to go to a concert. So enjoy it that way, like, oh, you got a 40-foot roll away, like that's reality, like, and that's fun, because again, you're in nature, and there's no prescribed, like destination. It's about the journey. And again, like, I think the more encouraging I can be to anybody, and for your listeners as you move forward, it's the tournament part of it that continues to, I think, grow the sport, which then bubbles up. I may play an FBO tournament 4 years down the line, and if there's not that offered, then I don't get the opportunity to do it. But if more people are continuing to sign up, then they continue to offer more tournaments. But I think the tournament director is the unsung hero, because they're willing to put their time and energy into basically other people's entertainment. And that's kind of at the crux of the growing the sport. It's not about, how many disc golf manufacturers, like, there's enough disc golf discs out there in the world that we'd probably be okay for a little while. But it's really about, again, the shared experience playing Glow League, or if it's dubs, or if it's your casual Sunday with your guys, or introducing somebody that may hasn't played before. So as a lot of other women my age, they're like, disc golf. I played regular ball golf growing up. My brother runs a course down where we're from and runs the league there. I got introduced to it as part of just, osmosis, and, went to a college that offered a class. But for the other millions of people that don't have that, it takes somebody like an ambassador of the sport that just wants more people to do it with them. So I play a lot alone because, if I've moved a lot and I don't have anybody around me to play with, then I'm kind of forced to that. So if there's women's leagues that are offered, like in San Francisco at Golden Gate Park, they offer a Wednesday casual women's league. So me being able to go to that is like, I couldn't think of anything better. So the camaraderie for sure. But again, the more that we all register and play fun tournaments, unsanctioned, sanctioned, out of town, in town, it just gives you more fun and more experience. And I attribute it to being like bowling or going to the movies or anything like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I would agree. So we have here at Vista del Camino, we have a Monday women's league that my friend Sarah runs. Also, we have the Phoenix Ladies Open at Vista every November. It's 150 ladies come out. I film that event with Terry every year, and it's so much fun. So since you're in California, we've got to get you over to one here pretty soon.
Well, you when you were off and on, I talked about the Phoenix Ladies League as being one of the greatest community. There's quite a few women in that community that I correspond with. I think I was playing a tournament both the last 2 years. So Hannah has also invited me, and just knowing that every time I go to Vista, and if I can connect with any of the women out there, it's one of my favorite places to go to. But again, like 150 women, and watching that tournament on coverage. Getting to see Hannah as somebody that I know and I follow, to watch her on that feature card, it's inspiring because it shows me and everyone else that anything is possible if you put in the work and the effort. And that's why, she's one of my favorite kind of regional and pros to watch because she is so humble in that way as well.
Sorry, I'm clicking all the wrong buttons. Hannah is... well, my headphones died, so I have to keep it muted so you don't repeat, and I'm just failing horribly. Hannah is humble is the best word you could use to describe Hannah. So she's on some spinners with one of my daily golf friends, Sarah Isaac, and they are just Arizona staples. Anytime I hear about any event, they're both playing, and I love Hannah to death. So I'm bummed I missed that chat because, like I said, I would miss the 5 seconds you talk about Phoenix.
Well, and just knowing that you've got such great, female representatives that are encouraging. And I think that's the thing of where they post, their casual rounds. And it's about having fun, laughing, being silly. I've filmed quite a few TikToks on the disc golf course. And, those are my most favorite moments is just being able to laugh and have fun. And I think of again, what are we here to do if not to have those shared experiences? But one of my, goals is to come out and play one of the Phoenix events, with Hannah and with the crew, because for the last 3 years, every single day I get to I get to comment, I get to share their content as well, because again, that's how I think women feel more comfortable is seeing somebody that they can identify with. That it's oh, she looks like me. I don't have to, change the way I look, dress, talk to play a sport that seems maybe more male dominant. I grew up with a brother, so it was easy for me. But for other ladies that maybe are unsure, having somebody like me, laughing or jumping on a tee pad or, hyping somebody else up is oh, that's fun. I want to do that. I think of being a WNBA team. That's kind of what, the female disc golf community is like. You should be wanting to encourage everyone to have the best possible, whether it's experience or, tournament. It's us against the course. Whoever plays best, wins, and that's great. But I think of how do you minimize the amount of anxiety or, as you're getting ready for an event. So I've played 30 events this year. The first event I ever played, and I was dead last, and very unsure of what to do. But the women that I played with were super kind and hey, your foot goes behind your mini. Oh, hey, you can't, or hey, try this. Have you tried that? And I'm no, that would be great. So because of other kind women is what encouraged me to continue and being able to get that first win or to do your first round rating above your rating. Those are things that I check off. While I don't have a disc golf ace, I have a ball of golf ace. I'm going to get one eventually, and that's the thing with any of the milestones, of what we would like to accomplish. How do you celebrate the small things? And I think that that's, again, the mindset stuff that I see a lot, and you say you volunteer for Clinics for Edge. There's so much negativity out in the world, and our mind can, do, bad things for our own mental, just stability. And for us to look at any opportunity of what is the positive, what can I learn from this? Who can I share or make somebody feel better? Again, your energy or your attitude is what you choose. So choose a good one because it is your choice. So I think those are good things that apply to the disc golf course too.
Heck yeah. You're resonating a lot with my love of stoicism right now. So I appreciate that.
You got it.
We do have a question from our producer to round out the show here.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what would be the biggest way that we can support women disc golf in our area? Not just us, like just in general, for anyone
Well,
listening.
I think, yeah. So if you have an Instagram or if you have a Twitter, or if you have any sort of like social media, if there's a woman in your local community that is, on those platforms, that's a great way to be able to share or, like highlight them. I think that's a great way. Encouraging the women in your life, like, not everyone is lucky to have somebody that may be interested in it. And that's okay. But if you think of like, I've got a mom, a sister, a cousin, a sister-in-law, maybe one of them might be into it. So just, continuing to advocate for like, I think family, like Sundays or a time when, the course is already going to be busy, and to be able to encourage people that way, I think is great. But I think everyone has a platform or a voice, very rare is somebody not even on Facebook or, if you are participating in a disc golf, whether it's a league, whether it's, doubles, if people are playing doubles and there's a woman there and you don't want her to be on your team because you want a better advantage, like, I think it's, why are you here to have doubles? Is it to win $5 or is it to have a good experience? And I think that's where like my female counterparts would probably say the local community outside of the women's leagues, like as I've, read on Facebook in different threads of like, somebody didn't want to be my partner at doubles or, I got laughed away or things like that, obviously. But if you want and don't want to have that environment, there's like different leagues to set up where you have different, things like that. So I just, again, it's, encouraging somebody in person, doing it within your community. But ultimately, I think, how does our community share? And they do it through like, the shared stories or the highlighting on a post. You guys having me on this podcast is like huge. So I appreciate it. And I know being able
I
to
appreciate
like,
that you think it's huge.
well, I think for me, it's another opportunity for me to talk about myself, so, not often do I get an unsolicited opportunity to say like, hey, let me talk to you about stuff for half an hour, unless you visit my page or unless you see me in person, so this is for me, whether it was one person or two people or 10, I know that at least somebody heard something that maybe resonated or gave them a different point of view or, something.
Heck yeah. No, I mean, we appreciate you being on the show big time. And probably the most well-spoken person we've had on our show. Up there
Well,
for
I think
sure.
it was quick, like just the turnaround of like as I got home, like 10 minutes before, changing my clothes, like figuring out like my trash can that I'm using to like have my base of my stand of my camera. Like who knows what the background looked like,
You
but
fit in perfect.
I can definitely talk to you guys for endless amount of time. So if you want to invite me back, if you want to
Oh,
do
of
an annual
course.
series, if you need a KK's corner, you just let me know and I'm available anytime.
She had that ready and loaded. I saw that. She was like, I can't think of a more hanging loose thing ever than being like, you're sitting on a trash can right now.
Yeah.
That makes me
It's
so happy
perfect.
on the inside.
It's a KK
perfect.
make it work moment, right?
Oh, heck yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. That was awesome. We'll definitely have to have you back on.
Yeah.
Very well spoken, and I hope the community will, our little community we have here, will help spread the word a little bit because more disc golfers means better stuff, and more diverse disc golfers means even better stuff. So I'm not the well spoken one here. It's you two. Oh, sorry, wrong way. You two.
Okay, bye then, Caleb. Jeez.
Well, I gotta ask the obvious question here: is Hanging Loose KK approved?
Yeah,
We
100%.
get the stamp.
You get the stamp. Yep.
Let's go.
We get the stamp. So give us a quick rundown of where we can find you on socials, where the shop is, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And then
So
if you can, we're going to have you send us out with a screen because nobody's been able to do it the last few times. But we'll usually just have you
chickened out.
Yeah, we'll have you scream to end the episode, and then we'll just cut it right in the middle of the screen.
Chop it right at the end.
Okay, so that's exciting. So KK approved, obviously the Instagram handle. I have a Facebook. I've got a Twitter, not a lot of posts in there. I have a small YouTube channel, search KKApproved, website KKApproved.com, which is, pretty fabulous. And those were going to be the main places. I'm out of California, which is another fun thing. But anytime if you DM me and you need something, I'm definitely going to respond. So I'll talk to you guys later, and I cannot believe I'm going to scream.
And